Hello gamers, it's the Game Faerie and welcome to the Game Faerie Podcast. Today I'm going to be playing a game called Citizen Sleeper, and with Citizen Sleeper you do choose a character class, and today we will be playing as the machinist. A machinist repairs and modifies automated systems used in industrial resource extraction. Sleepers assigned to machinist work are usually diligent, careful, and structured people. So we will receive +1 on our engineer strat, which is working with machines and physical tools. And we do receive -1 modifier for engage. Approach a problem head on. So we will be starting. Citizen Sleeper kind of plays like a board game, so it is a very unique and fun game, and your decisions matter in this game, so it should be a fun ride. Let's go ahead and get started. And this is also very text heavy, so grab a drink, grab some popcorn, settle in. Listen, I got my popcorn right here, and let's have a good time. So we are in an unknown location. Where are you? The first thing you become aware of on waking is the disconnect, the delay between thinking and feeling, between wanting to act and acting, minor, almost imperceptible, but always present. It's at its worst when waking, when yourself has spent many dark hours recalling what it felt like to be real, to be a person, to be in a body that was indisputably yours. We are going to think of that body. A leap into a cold lake on a hot day, the sting of blood welling from a fresh wound, the friction of a fingertip. All of a sudden, the memories are closer than you thought, blurring as you approach, until you can't tell one from the other. The cold slips in, beyond and around you, and the sensations fade out of reach. Perhaps you should be thankful for the dulled nature of this new body, given your current circumstances. The walls of the container feel immediately present, cold, hard, at your back and face, cramping your limbs. You resist that desire to stretch, knowing that the claustrophobia comes next, and retreat a little from your central nervous system. It isn't painful, not like you used to know pain, at least. In emergency mode, pain is a message delivered with efficiency and ease, a reminder that harm is imminent. There is no insistent throb, no trembling nerves, just a warning delivered with a banal quality of a digital notification. Right now, there are thousands of them. We are going to remember the plan. You mostly remember that it wasn't a good plan, but then your options were limited. And once you got the itch to get out by any means possible, it was either that plan or something much worse. It was at least simple. Collapse the shaft, drift away into the chaos, slip into cargo processing, seal yourselves into containers, then just hope the freighter left before you were missed. Some were lost in the shaft, others never found the meeting point. Only a few made it to the containers, but the freighter, as far as you know, left. That feels like enough. Enough to know that you might no longer be on that grim and heartless rock, even if, in the airless hold of a freighter, you might freeze solid long before you reach any destination. Let's try to rest. But you are restless. It has been a long time since you left, surely weeks, maybe months. You are duly aware of damage to your legs, your right arm. You have been reserving energy as much as possible, but your body has still needed to shut down many of its systems to protect you. You have spent much of that time asleep, knowing that anything else would be impossible to endure. You feel the weight of that impossibility begin to gather. It is time to sleep again, to nudge this false body into inducing delta waves in your emulated mind, and once again recoil into a dream of when you were once a person. Rest. Time passes, the cold creeps further in. You feel something. Warmth. Not true warmth, but the indication of its presence. Your joints release from their rigor. Sound too, everywhere, screeching and shimmering so loud that your body ducks your hearing to protect its sensors. Then light, white as the cold, softer and softer, until in a haze of dirty yellow, a figure appears. You are out. And we are going to go to our only available location named Dragos, Pragmatic Salvager. It has been a few hours since Dragos pulled you from the container. You sit huddled in a corner of his scrapyard, swaddled in the reflective folds of a mylar blanket. You are slowly coming back to consciousness, back to life, and you stare at the ornately curving element of an improvised heater. You are surrounded by angular, incoherent lumps of ships, some corroded beyond recognition, others still carrying glassy wounds along their edges where a plasma arc sliced them apart. As you trace their shapes with fogged eyes, you hear a voice. "So, sleeper, you all thawed yet? We will stay silent. Never seen one of you come in like this. New frames must have better perseverance in sub-zero vac. Seen more than a few of you frozen solid to the whole plates or inside outer locks in my time. They weren't so lucky." Dragos comes into focus, shrouded in makeshift tech, his headset with its glinting eyes, the mark of a drone operator. On his shoulder, one of his symbiotically linked drones perches, its irising eye locking you with an unflinching stare. "Last living sleeper that came through this yard was a while ago. They didn't last long." You struggle to read his expression beneath the tech, but he seems lost in memory for a moment, or perhaps he is just figuring out what to do with you. "I plan to survive," we say. You aren't sure if he hears you. "I won't ask what led you to do it, to sell yourself to a corporation. And I suppose you know you can't go back. Your old body, that's theirs now. And you are just software, a rogue emulation illegally processing corporate property." You nod along. You remember biometrically signing the forms, the cold floor on your feet as you padded to the sleeper cells, the promise of a life off-world. But as you do, you get the now familiar sensation that these aren't your memories. These are things you know, but not things you feel. You are no longer that person. You are an offshoot, a copy. What you won't know is what's ahead. At least the last one didn't. There's no easy way to put it. That body of yours is falling apart. It's the same for any sleeper who makes it out. SNARP wants to protect their property, but if they can't keep hold of you, well, then no one can. You remember that too, or at least rumors of it from the other sleepers. Planned obsolescence, a built-in dependence of the regularly administered supplements that were part of your routine. Stop taking them and your body begins to shut down, separate from your emulated mind. How long has it been? How long do you have? But for now, sleeper, you are one of the lucky ones. Dragos glances up and away, towards the glassy dome of the yard. The eye is the best place you could be right now. The eye? We ask. The station, You'll see soon enough. Dragos impatiently shifts his weight. Look, I've got things to be getting on with. He trails off. There's an old freight container I've been using as a storage out in the stacks. We haven't been pulling in much valuable scrap these days, so you're welcome to it. Something wells up inside of you. Emotion, fatigue. You shakily get to your feet. We nod. All right, you head up there. You look like you need some rest. And with that, Dragos stalks back into the wrecks, his drones already converging on a rusting hulk, plasma flashes silhouetting his spindly figure as he returns to work. Okay, so now we are in the tutorial mode. Welcome to Erlen's Eye. Life on the Eye runs in cycles, during which you can talk to characters, explore areas of the station, and perform actions. At the end of each cycle, you need to head to your current home to rest. Resting will move time forward in the station. Head to the empty container location to rest and end the cycle now. So we will do that. We're going to move to the location. There it is. Oh, empty container. Your home for now. Let's go ahead and click that. End cycle. All cycles need to end. Rest and prepare for the next one. So we will end our cycle as the screen fades to black. Okay. In our container, 4 steel walls. You wake curled up in the corner of the container and begin slowly assembling the world around you. After all this time, you still find this body, the one you waken now, strange and disjointed. Its messages readable, but somehow wrong. You sit up, pulling the mylar blanket close against the cold. Here you are, on this ruined station, millions of miles from anyone you know. Are you still in the system? Did any of the others make it out? It's impossible to know. After all this, what matters? And we will select building a life. Maybe you did get lucky, finding yourself here. Maybe here, on the edge of everything, there's a life for you to build. But before you can build anything, you'll need to learn to survive. Maybe if you can do that, you can make a life for yourself. Dragos has left a few comforts in the container. The mylar blanket, the bedroll you slept on, a canister of water, a makeshift electric stove, and some faded sachets of some desiccated powder. You thumb the power stud of the stove and begin to boil the water. The contents of the sachets smell like damp wood, and you sprinkle them into the liquid. As the pungent smell washes over you, images from your restless sleep come back to you. A ring, like a station, but skeletal and ghostly. A web of threads pulling at your skin. A constellation of bright, polygonal shapes, like angular suns burning into your mind. There's something unpleasantly visceral about these images, and it is long before you finish drinking, before they begin to fade. You tidy away the stove as best you can and try to gather enough energy to greet the day. Okay, and we do show up top, some dice have appeared. We have 5 slots for dice, but only 4 of them are filled. We also see the word flickering, and we have some bars. So let's go ahead and get into this tutorial. Your condition represents the current state of your artificial body. It depletes by 1 segment each cycle, but can also be damaged by violence, injury, or lack of food. If your condition bar empties, you will suffer a breakdown. You'll have to figure out how to recover your condition now that you no longer have access to corporate pharmaceuticals that were keeping you alive. So our condition is currently flickering and the bar is a little more than halfway full. So it looks like we're okay as far as condition goes. Next is action dice. At the start of each cycle, you roll your action dice. These dice can be used to perform actions on the station. The number of dice rolled is based on your current condition. The worse your condition, the fewer dice you have. Once you have used your dice, you cannot take any further actions and must rest to recover them, ending the current cycle. So we have 2 3 dice, and we have 2 2 dice. So 2 3s and 2 2s. And our third one is energy. You also need to eat to survive. This is represented by your energy bar. You can refill your energy bar by eating, but first you'll have to find somewhere to get food. Your energy depletes by 2 segments each cycle. If it becomes empty, you will be starving. When starving, energy loss becomes condition loss, and your condition will also deplete at a double rate per cycle. So not good. We definitely need to find some food. Okay, so it looks like the game has left us to our devices. Oh, and we see Dragos. Dragos is standing in the corridor when you close up the container. He is still wearing his headset, and in the harsh light of the corridor, you realize it is implanted. A drone sits on his shoulder, its cache of sensor eyes rapidly irising. "How are you feeling?" "Okay," we say. The drone chirps. "Good to hear. You notice that beneath the operator's rig, his skin is marked by burns and blotches. I know the container isn't much, but it'll keep you safe." He pauses. "So, I'm not going to chit-chat too long. You well enough to work?" "Work?" we ask. "Look, I'll be honest with you, Sleeper. I didn't pull you out of that container out of the goodness of my heart." He looks away. "At the yard, it's simple stuff. We hack these old holes down, sell them off to the shipyards or the bright market dealers for cryo. Occasionally, we pull out some tech, something with a bit more value, but most of what comes in is scrap. It's hard to find good hands here, but I figure as a sleeper, you'll be used to manual labor. And obviously, I'll slip you a few chits of commission based on what you turn up." "Chits?" we ask. "These." He pulls out a handful of small metal bars. "Air-walled cryo, isolated from the market. It's what we use to trade out here." He stuffs them back in a pocket. He shuffles his feet nervously. "Look, I wouldn't usually do this. In my opinion, you'd be best suited moving on as quick as you can. And sleepers, well," he trails off. "But things being the way that they are for me at the yard," he pauses, "I need the help." "Why?" we ask. "Things are a little tight, that's all. I owe a little cryo to a client here or there." He pauses, thinking of something else to add. "Look, just come down to the yard when you are feeling fresher. There's plenty to do." "Will do," we say. He nods distractedly and turns and walks away, the drone hopping along ahead of him. "See you later," he calls back. Looks like it's time to get to work. Okay, so now we do see the station that we're on. So we do have our empty container, which is our home. We have Dragos's yard, and that's the other location we can go. So decaying scrapyard, let's hop along in there. Okay, tutorial, actions. Actions are the primary way you interact with the world of Citizen Sleeper. To perform an action, select it, and then choose an action dice to assign. Actions reward you with clock progress, energy, condition, or items, depending on their outcome. There are 3 types of outcomes. Positive, the action goes better than expected. Neutral, the action succeeds. And negative, the action fails. Action dice affect these outcomes as follows. So if we have a dice that has 6 on it, 100% chance positive outcome. A 5 dice is 50% positive, 50% neutral. A 3 and a 4 dice is 25% chance positive, 50% chance neutral, and 25% chance negative. And a 1 or a 2 die is 50% chance neutral and 50% chance negative, which we do have 2 2s and 2 4s, I believe. So nothing that will give us 100% chance positive this time. Let's continue. Okay, so we do have type, either critical or repeatable. Critical actions can only be performed once. Risk is either safe, risky, or dangerous. Safe means no loss of condition, energy, or cryo. Risky means negative outcomes, means cryo or energy loss. And danger means negative outcome, means condition loss. Neutral outcome can mean cryo or energy loss. Uh-oh. So even for a neutral, we will be losing things in danger mode. And then next up is skill. The skill that this action requires either engineer, interface, endure, intuit, or engage. And then our modifier, either -1, 0, +1, or +2. This is added to the action dice when slotted and improves its value. Some actions require a +1 to perform. Wow. So let's go. We do have 2 actions, both are repeatable. So we can either do a whole dissection, which is risky, or do a manual salvage, which is a safe option. Now we do have +1 modifier on engineer. So that is going to be our whole dissection. I know it's risky, but let's give it a go. I'm going to put one of our 3 dice here. Even the rustiest hole can hide valuable components and materials. Extracting them means cutting carefully and skillfully. So let's go ahead, apply this dice here. Oh, with the +1 modifier, it bumped it up to a 4 dice. So let's go ahead and try this action. Working. Boom. Okay, so we actually have another tutorial here before I go through the outcome. Actions often progress clocks. Clocks are displayed below the actions that fill them, and they track your actions and how they affect the world. Filling a clock means something good or bad is about to happen. Some clocks, such as the ones tracking Dragos's debt, are cycle clocks. These clocks tick themselves once each cycle and can complete without player input. Any active cycle clocks will be displayed on the icon for that location. All right, so I believe we got a neutral action from that. It looks like we have 15 cryo now. I didn't get to see what else happened because the screen popped up. But our cycle clock is a debt called in. Dragos is tied up in something ugly, and if he misses a payment or 2, things could get nasty. And then we also have back in business. Every salvager knows they are always just one lucky haul away from their next payday. So that did go up when we worked in Dragos's yard. So it is now filled with 1 out of 8 segments. So if we do it 7 more times, we should go ahead and get the potential reward for being back in business. So let's leave and explore more of the station. Oh, so we have another tutorial. In Citizen Sleeper, you will unlock drives as you discover more about yourself and the world. Drives guide you in pursuing specific objectives depending on which path you wish to take. You can track drives, and any tracked drive will place a yellow marker on its location that will help you pursue your goal. Access your drive menu with the left bumper. You are now free to explore Erlin's Eye and make a life for yourself here. Try tracking a drive to help you survive. Look for food to keep your energy up and a way to recover condition. Fill clocks to progress stories and find new opportunities. Remember to end cycle at your home when you are out of dice. Okay, so we're on our own. Let's explore Erlin's Eye. So we do have a shipyard, our empty container, Dragos's yard. What's this here? Dock C4. Rotunda, which is an old dock terminal. Dock B2. Bright Market. And one more place up here, Low End Gate. So we do need food. It sounds like we might get that at the market. So let's go here. And we can do two actions. We can do a critical action, which is ask for directions. Ooh, scary, scary. Or we can do a repeatable action, explore the market. Now, the critical action, asking for directions, is dangerous. And exploring the market is risky. We will just explore the market for now. I am going to put our 3 dice here. So let's give it a go. Okay, so while exploring the market, you manage to follow the flow of people and you start to appreciate, even enjoy the chaotic layout of the market. So I believe that was a neutral. Okay, and we can repeat this again. Let's explore it one more time with our 2 dice so we can either do neutral or negative. Let's go. Oh, and we got a neutral outcome. We actually have a wheel here for local knowledge. It has 3 segments. We filled out 2 of them. The bright market is the busiest part of the eye's lower rim. You can find anything and everything here. Ooh, so let's back out and check out what other things we have. Oh, awesome. So we have 2 more things that have appeared. One is Sabine, a slum doctor, and the other is Memphis, street food vendor. So we do have a way to access food as it appears. And we do have a doctor. So let's go to this food vendor. Our food is lower than our status right now. So let's move up there to Memphis. Memphis is busy, his broad face uplit by the makeshift gas burner in front of him. With precise, delicate movements, he lays thick chunks of marinated fungus into a dented wok, his other hand idly tossing a metal bowl of sliced vegetables and some red-flecked dressing. The smell is incredible. You watch as he fulfills a set of orders, heaping the fungus with the bright salad and depositing it in plastic trays. A stack of chits rattles in his apron pockets as customers file past the burner, handing over payment. Let's approach. You join the queue. It's mostly made of off-duty salvagers, back suits unzipped and rolled down to expose stained vest, grubby mods, a lattice of scars and tattoos. They discuss the best food on the eye, the best drink, comparing notes on bright market dives. Their words cut through with heavy spacer slang. Eventually, it's your turn. You shuffle to the front. Memphis speaks in a deep, even tone without looking up. First try is free. We thank him. The smell is almost unbearably strong as he cooks. The earthiness of the fungus laced with something so spicy, the smoke makes your eyes water. The heat from the burner is like a bonfire, and your skin hardens in its glare. I know you sleepers, Memphis says while he cooks, his voice deep but clear. A hard life, a lot of stories. He glances up from beneath his cap with piercing eyes. I know. Tell him a story. You begin to tell him about your journey to the eye, and he nods as he cooks, his eyes never leaving his work. You tell him of the confusion, the pain, but also the sense of possibility and its sudden arrival. You tell him of the cold and the dark of the container, and the endless cycle spent within it. Now it seems you tell him, like some dream that you once had but can never forget. You tell him that the eye excites you and scares you, and you are unsure where to walk, where to look, what to do. Eventually you tail off, running out of words. He places a plastic tray of steaming fungus in your hand. Next time we can talk some more. He smiles. But next time, you pay. He slams a heavy hand against a button on the burner's side and it shuts off. The roar of the flame and its impressive heat fades. Next time then, sleeper. He waves you away and begins to oil the walk. Before you turn back to the alley, you notice the geometric patterns of circular scars across his forearms, each surrounded with a constellation of glinting pin marks. You walk away, and as you do, you take a bite of the rich, spicy, delicately sweet fungus. Your taste sensors light up like a fusion reactor. You'll be back. And that did fill our food all the way up. New drive discovered. Let's take a look at that. And our drives are basically just our missions. So our missions right now are get to know Emphas. Emphas loves two things, stories and food. Maybe if you supply him with both, you can hear his story. So we need to eat at Emphas's stall. He did say next time we pay, so we only got 15 money right now. Next is repay Dragos. Dragos pulled you out of the salvage and set you up. Perhaps you can repay his kindness in time and its help pay off Dragos' debt. And the last one is survive. You need access to corporate pharmaceuticals, otherwise this escape attempt will come to rapid end. Find a doctor. All right. And we have completed none of those. So let's go to Sabine, this new place that's popped up. We are at Hab Block. Next comes the call from the enforcer at the door. You shuffle down the flickering hallway towards the open apartment door. You keep your head down and your shoulders high in the queue, trying not to bring attention to yourself. You were thankful for the tip-off that a doctor was operating out of this place. But now that you are here, you aren't so sure. The gang enforcer on the door, the flickering light strips, the decaying hab block, they have all made the long queue a test of your nerve. But your options are few, and without a supply of stabilizer, this body, your body, will. You suppress a shiver and shuffle forward to the front of the queue. You try to find something to distract yourself. Let's look inside. You lean against the doorframe and look into the apartment. The entryway is dark, punctuated by the green indicators of stacks of sealed containers. You lean in and see amber light flickering through a far doorway, screened with plastic sheeting beyond which blurred shapes move. The slap of the enforcer's palm against the doorway jerks you awake. Wait your turn, he growls. After a few moments, a figure pushes through the doorway, and you catch a distant voice. Send in the next one, Toshiro. The enforcer jerks his head, and you slip inside, passing through the dark entryway and pushing through the plastic sheeting on the far door. The room behind is bathed in warm light. A floor-to-ceiling transparent panel gives a full view of the bright market's sealed roof and the buzzing traffic above, and for a moment you are transfixed by the motion. Come sit, calls a sharp voice, and you see a silhouetted figure turned away, replacing a plastic sheeting over the frame of a simple folding bed. You make your way across the room. The figure turns, and as they do, you see an expression of confusion flash across their features. They open their mouth as if to speak, They blink, then quickly regain their composure. Please sit. They gesture to the bed, then turn to an open case of tools on the table. You sit. Sabine turns, a compact diagnostic scanner of some kind in their hand. They hold it to their eye. Remain still, please. Their tone is clipped and businesslike. You stare ahead, still dazed from their expression when you first entered. Fear, recognition, sadness, unmistakably etched across their face. How long have you been in this station? They ask, the scanner still to their eye. A few cycles, will answer. They nod. It's good you came to me. They set the diagnostic scanner on the table. I'm going to start by assuming you don't know anything. They take your arm and roll up your sleeve, inspecting your synthetic skin. Your body is dying. They say it without ceremony, without drama, but not without empathy. SNARP doesn't like to see its proprietary technology let loose. To prevent bodies like yours, frames, as they call them, from being stolen, repurposed, or in your case, escaping, they built in a process of so-called planned obsolescence. Frames decay rapidly when not regularly injected with stabilizer, one which SNARP remains the sole producer of. They look up. Sound familiar? Yes, I say. Good. That may help. They swap to your other arm, running some thin metal device over your skin. You feel your forearm tremble. I'm sorry, Sabine says. And you are unsure if they mean for the cold touch of the metal or everything else. Emulations like you, sleepers as most people know you, aren't classified as people in any of the surrogate systems. You have no rights, no status. They focus hard on the inspection of your arm, and SNARP has no reason to release stabilizer into the market. Sabine looks up as if to apologize again, but they stop themselves. I know little of this is of use to you. They turn away, disassembling the metal instrument and cleaning it. Silence fills the room as Sabine works, and then the silence gives way to tension. You stare at their back, willing them to say something, anything. Sabine turns to face you. I may be able to help. They sigh, and you see the darkness under their eyes. Hear the fatigue in their voice. They gesture to the door. You saw Toshiro outside. You nod. He works for my benefactor, Yatagon. They are influential in the low end. They give me the space to work, run the door, and take the profits. At the same time, I have to fix up their enforcers, tend to their implants, sew up their wounds. They look away. But Yatagon has connections, smugglers from the Starward Belt, mercenaries working for the corporations on Ember. If they can source the stabilizer, maybe you'll have a better chance. Sabine sets down their slate, their notes complete. This is dangerous, and it'll be expensive, but I think we can do it. Why help me? We ask. Sabine walks away to the window, their face dappled by the shadow of passing drones. Let's just see if this works first. I'll let you know when I have a lead. You nod and leave, Sabine staring out, unmoving. When you reach the lower level of the market, you look back up through the panels of the roof to see if you can see their face, but the room looks dark against the lights of the market. You duck your head and walk off into the crowd. Okay. So now we have to wait. Sourcing stabilizer. Sabine thinks they can source some stabilizer through Yatagon, but it is going to take a few cycles. And it looks like it might take 3 cycles, if I saw that correctly. 1, 2, I think 3 cycles. Okay, so we found a place to eat. Our food's full. We have a way of getting stabilizer. And we do still have 1 dice left. So maybe I will go ahead and put that into Dragos's yard as well. And then we'll end today and explore more the next time. So we're going to do the risky option of whole dissection again. So let's go ahead, and our 2 dice turned into a 3. So let's start this action. Fingers crossed, y'all. Ooh, negative outcome, +10 cryo, but minus energy. After hours of carefully slicing and separation, you uncover little more than layer after layer of worthless scrap. This is going nowhere. At least we got the 10 cryo. I'm happy about that. And I do want to look down. So we have 25 cryo, and we also have scrap components. Filters, capacitors, sensors, useful salvage to the right person. Okay, so it's good to know we have 1 of those. And now, since we are out of dice, we are going to go to our empty container and we will explore more in the cycle. And I hope you gamers enjoyed that first opening bit of Citizen Sleeper. If y'all would like me to play more of this, make sure to like the video and also make sure to subscribe so you will be updated when I do upload more. Also, you can find the audio only portion of this gameplay on Spotify, the Game Faerie Podcast. And I hope that you're having a good day, a good night, a good time. And I will be talking to y'all gamers real soon with some more content. Goodbye, gamers.